What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another solo leveling Arise video. Alright guys, we are going to be talking a little bit more about Akari. Everyone's been really focused on her as a hunter and how she promotes Thomas as a better unit. We all forgot about her boy SJW, so I'm going to do a little test. This is going to be an important one, I think. Her support skill is actually one of the best support skills in the game by far. By far. I don't think there's a question about it. And we're going to actually see if it stacks with BIGROCK. And if it does, this is the first time I'm doing this test, by the way, we are looking at two of the best support skills in the game. One from a shadow and then also one from her. And that alone might be worthwhile getting a copy of her for a lot of you. So let me move myself over here and show you guys what the support skill kind of looks like. Okay, so here's the support skill. You guys can see after gathering enemies, Akari releases a powerful attack with her fiery axe, granting a buff to her allies. So it's HP based. It does do a little bit of damage. We don't care about the damage. That's not what we're here for. We're actually here for the Brilliance buff. Increases damage dealt by 8%, increases the critical hit rate of the user's basic skills and ultimate skill by 8%, and also restores HP. So why is this important? Well, that increased damage dealt by 8% pretty much applies to everything, not just basic skills, not just the ultimate. You get that for 24 seconds for everything. But on top of that, you actually get increased hit rate on the crit rate on the basic skills and the ultimate skill as well by 8%, which is a pretty damn big deal, believe it or not. That is something that you will not lose. That is a flat 8%. Doesn't matter the mob's level, doesn't matter if you're in the red CP or not. That 8% is going to be massive. Now, this could work really, really well for two different things. Number one, BIGROCK, and number two, could also work really well with Igris, which is going to give you another, of course, 8% if you have him on general rank. So this is going to be a really, really big deal. And we're going to do a little bit of a test. We're going to see how it looks with that buff, without that buff, if it actually works as intended. And we're going to see how this all pans out. We're going to try Igris. We're going to try BIGROCK. We're going to see who makes more sense, who does more damage with specific skills. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into this. First off, everything that I put went into precision. It doesn't need to happen, guys. I'm just doing it just to make numbers smaller. You guys can see, so I'm overkill on precision. I've got 43k into there, but I do have 4,872 in crit, so we're at the 50% mark. Either way, we're in the blue, so we're not too worried about it. I have two skills here that are single target skills, weapon skills, so we're gonna see if that's affected as well. Obviously, I did remove all my blessing stones, so nothing there is going to factor in. We do have a single target move that we need to add on, one specific attack, and that's what we're gonna test on skills. So we're going to try doing it this way. I've got no gear on, by the way. Nothing to interfere with that. I've only got my cores, but that's of course just to get the combat power up. All right, guys, here we go. So it is the rare one that I had. It's called Annihilation. So we're going to try this out. Okay, we're gonna simply just come in here and just record a couple numbers. Without crit, with crit, it doesn't matter, right? We're going to record some numbers here just to make sure we have something in place. So 199536, right? 36. And again, I won't bore you for too long here. When it comes down to the actual like testing, I'll just get some numbers for you guys so you guys can see I'm doing it for real. I'm not just making numbers up. I hate not recording the full thing, but I know a lot of you guys don't want to watch a 30-minute video of me just doing simple number crunching. All right, so let's go back in here. That was a crit. I'll record the crits as well, just so we have no crit. We have a little bit of a variety with crit, okay? Because I know the other skill is going to buff crits as well. 198859. You guys can see it's very consistent, right? 198859. Okay. 200196. I mean, again, very consistent. Okay, perfect. So we have those numbers. I'm okay with those numbers. Let's go back out now. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and put BIGROCK in next. There's the form. Okay, formation there. You guys can see now I'm at 264. Now, BIGROCK against Shadow Authority does give basic skill damage by 11%. Now, I want to make this clear. From everything I've tested, weapon damage seems to also be affected. Not the full 11% though, for some odd reason. But it does do definitely an increase in West Wind, for example, or any one-shot move like the staff. It definitely did increase the damage as well with BIGROCK there. Even though it doesn't say weapon skills, it says basic skills. So, all right, so let's just see here. So 2288. So this is with BIGROCK. Okay, so I think this is going to be easy to tell. Let me just take the no crit aspect of it here. You guys can already see already an increase in damage fairly easily. 228334, 228334. And then if we go to the next one, just retry it again. You guys will see another one around that mark. And again, hopefully we get a crit in there somewhere. With Brilliance, you're gonna see a crit. Now here's the crazy part, right? Is Brilliance what are you gonna use Brilliance for? The crit rate or the or is it gonna be more for hold on a sec. Well, sorry guys, 1 sec here. So what's best? Sorry, I guess what I'm trying to say is, what are you gonna use it for? Is it gonna be the crit rate to increase it to do more crits, which is what you probably will use Brilliance for, to be honest with you, for your basic skills. So Igris might be a better option than BIGROCK, but let's just say your crits are low and you're fighting a higher end mob, you might want to consider using BIGROCK, right? So, or if you're over crit already, you might want to consider using BIGROCK. So it all depends on where you want to go with this. But there's another one there, 226914, and then we'll do one more here. Now, we're going to throw Igris in here as well too, and see how many more crits we can get with Igris versus obviously not having Igris there. So you're going to see another 7% there. That's going to be higher up, and we'll see who does more damage in 3 instances. And then with Brilliance, we'll see again with BIGROCK versus Igris. And again, it's all going to depend on your over crit. Okay, so there's a crit right there. So this is with crit. I'm glad we got a crit in there. 623426. 622679. 622679. So now let's throw Akari into the mix. Okay, so this is now going to be with Brilliance. Just so you guys are aware, with Akari, obviously we're going to be a little higher in the blue. I do want to make sure a couple different things. I did do some tests beforehand. I'm going to erase a couple of these just because I want to restart with the Brilliance one. So we are more in the blue. We may do a little bit more damage because of that, obviously. So what we're going to do is we're going to do no crits. We're going to check the numbers without Akari's Brilliance, and then we're going to add Brilliance to it. Okay, so we already have numbers without Akari's Brilliance, so we can even bypass that, to be honest, and just add Brilliance into it. I just want you guys to be aware with my Akari, I took all her gear off, so there's nothing influencing. Like, she had Blessing originally. Obviously, that would influence the numbers because she's tagging in a support, but right now we don't have anything influencing the numbers, so we're going to try to do this with just Brilliance as a skill. So 2 things with Brilliance, obviously, that it does. Number 1, damage increase, also increasing the crit rate of all basic skills and ultimate damage. Okay, so this is where you'll have to decide for yourself, again, as I mentioned earlier, whether you want to use Igris or BIGROCK to amplify your crit. Now, if your over crit is super high, I think Igris still might end up being the better choice here between the 2 of them, but I do want to at least show you guys some of the numbers here that we're working with. Okay, so here's one, 694782. Okay, so this is now with Brilliance, and this is a crit. No crit with crit. All right, so we're going to look at these numbers together afterwards and summarize this. So 694782. Okay, this is with crit. If you look here, right, there's the numbers right there in comparison to just BIGROCK on his own. So now we have BIGROCK and Brilliance together. Now let's go take this to a nifty little calculator and see the percentage difference. Now remember, it's supposed to be fairly close, right, in terms of the percentages that were offered. Some of these numbers are going to be off, believe it or not. It does make a difference. They're not always 100% accurate in terms of what the game offers, but we do have a calculator here that we're going to apply. So I'm going to go ahead and apply my numbers. So I'm going to clear this out, and let's go ahead and take the numbers. So the first one I'm going to take here real quick is the crit number. All right, so we can take crit numbers and non-crit numbers. It doesn't matter, but because we have a couple of crits, we can take a look at it. So first off, let's do the non-crit number. So let's take the highest end number that I had here without the buffs, right? So we're going to put this in here, and then we're going to take BIGROCK's highest end number, which was this one. I'll calculate that there. You guys can see it's a 13.13% difference. All right. Now, it doesn't really matter if you take the crits or not, because look, if I take the crit, the number will be exactly the same. So precision is working as intended. Crit is working as intended. If I calculated 13.12. Right? So there you guys go. So between having no BIGROCK, with BIGROCK, with crits or without crits, you're getting yourself a 13% increase in damage. Now, my BIGROCK is Elite Knight. I'm only supposed to have 11%. So where's that extra amount coming from? A margin of error. I'm going to put it for margin of error. I don't know where else it would be coming from. So there you guys go. Those are the 2 calculations with BIGROCK, without BIGROCK. Now, if we add Brilliance to this, right, and I take the bigger number here, so what is the difference in percentage, right? If I take the bigger number from the base, let's just say now we have BIGROCK and Brilliance from the base with having no BIGROCK and no Brilliance, we're getting ourselves the following. 23.865%. So that's way more than 8% damage increase, right? So that's crazy. So we're looking at 23% more damage increase difference between having no BIGROCK and no Brilliance and having BIGROCK and Brilliance together. Now, what's the difference between having just BIGROCK and Brilliance? Well, let's just find out, right? We'll take this number again, which is the bigger number, and we'll go calculate, and it's a 10.82%. So if we go back to the game for a second, guys, and we look at the numbers, I'm just going to go back and look at the numbers again that they're providing us. The numbers that we're getting are not exactly accurate. what the game provides, right? So for example, if we go to the shadows, again, my BIGROCK is only an elite knight, right? So if I go to BIGROCK here, he's only supposed to be giving the basic skill damage by 11%. Now, the skill that we're using currently to do this testing, I don't know if it has any internal move, but I don't think it does. I think it's break state only, right? There you guys go. It's only doing more damage to anyone in break state, not in break state. Doesn't really matter. So, okay. So we'll take him out. We'll put Igris in. 7% more crit. So now we're totaling, what is that? That's 15% more crit now with Brilliance and Igris together. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's a passive. So now that puts me, if I go 50% because I'm a base, right? That puts me at 65% crit more. So a little bit more crit, obviously. Let me cast this. Okay, there's a crit. You guys can see the numbers though. 622, 641 versus 694, 782, right? With Igris and Brilliance. So 622, 641. So again, we're going to do 3. Just 3, right? 65%. Well, it's obviously 15% more crit, so we should definitely see more crit. Hell, we can even do 5 if you guys want, and just see, again, the number difference, right? And then again, I'll put together a little bit of a support team, which I think is going to be a great team, especially for crit rate and crit damage. We'll do Brilliance here again. Should probably cast this beforehand just to make it a little faster, but it doesn't matter. Okay, there's 2. 2 out of 2. Okay, you guys saw that? 2 out of 2. Straightforward, right? Again, more crits are happening because of this. So, again, for more consistent crits, you're better off doing this. Here, I'm just going to cast Brilliance here, so we're not having to deal with her attacks. Alright, here we go. Missed. 3 out of 3. 3 out of 3. Alright, so again, it's a big difference, guys. When you're using Igris, the consistency is there, right? So personally, I would rather lose out 50k damage, right? I'd rather lose out 50k damage and gain all that extra crit rate. So very, very important. I got hit there, so let's just take that and run with it. 4 out of 4. One more. All right, so we're about to do 100% here, and I could probably go up to 10 even and show you guys even more. But I think the 5 is a pretty telltale sign of how important Igris is to the meta. 5 out of 5. There you guys go. So personally, if I'm gonna look at anything, Igris is the one. Igris went Igris with Brilliance. 5 out of 5 crits. Definitely meta between the two. Now, if I was to go with the best possible outcome for teams when it comes down to crit, right? You would do three different units here. You would do Akari with Thomas with Cha, and that will boost your crit insane. And then put Igris as your shadow, right? So let's just do this. Look, if I go here and I just add in Thomas now, right? If we add in Thomas, now keep in mind Thomas's support is the following. Whenever you have steel armor on, increases their critical hit rate and critical hit damage by 10%. So now you're adding an extra 10%. Now we're at 75%. Now throw in Branded as well, right? Like, and honestly, like, Branded is great because of 2 things. Number 1, it gives you 12% crit hit damage and crit hit rate on the target, and it's a debuff. So this team here is going to rock, and I mean rock, the amount of damage you're going to do with that skill. So let's take a quick look. Let's take a look and see what the best support setup is and how you want to do it and why this is considered to be easily the best setup, in my opinion, for crit purposes right now in the game. So let's show you guys here real quick. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do Thomas. We'll do Akari. And with Chaz, we actually need to hit. So we're going to hope Cha hits. There it is. Okay, now watch. Look at that difference. Right? Look at that difference. 905. So the reason why that's all happening, right? So that's with Igris. Best support setup for crit equals Thomas, Igris, and Akari. So that's 12%. Sorry, 10% crit rate and crit damage. That's 12%, crit rate and crit damage, and that's 8% damage and 8% crit rate on skills. Right? Take your 50% and then add an Igris, and then Igris 7%. So you take all that, right? So that's what? 10, 22, 30, plus 7, 37%. So 50 plus 37%, you're at 87% crit rate. And I'm not over capping, right? So I'm actually at the bare minimum almost. So this right here, in my opinion, is probably going to be the best setup in the game for crit rate and crit damage purposes, especially if you are planning to do harder rank content. That might be the setup to go with when it comes down to hitting the most amount of damage with crit. That's my take on it. That's the testing I've done so far that worked for me. Let me know what you guys think, and if this helped you a lot at all. This is Payne. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.